These are 5 brand new RYOBI tools for 2025 that are absolutely incredible. You're gonna love them, and if you're a hater, you're gonna wish you had them, including the one that's behind you that you can't see yet. It's pretty awesome. Let's go. They have been knocking it out of the park with their brand new tool releases over the last couple of years, and I'm a huge fan of it. Custom bat, yeah, my editor Chris, say hi Chris, he makes these, link in the description. Over the last couple of years, I've developed a relationship with RYOBI because I'm a fan of their products. Not all of their products, I have been critical of several, but there are a lot here that I love. And they were kind enough to send these over for me to check out, and I think you're gonna love them. If you'd like to check out any of these new RYOBI tools, there'll be a link in the description and the pinned comment to help you find them easier. And of course that shop button here on YouTube. So I've had a RYOBI circular saw for quite some time now. It actually stays up there when it's not in use. They just released a brand new Gen 2 of their 1+ HP 7 1/4 circular saw. If you can say that 3 times fast, you're awesome. This is the Gen 1, this is the Gen 2. There's some pretty significant differences here, and if you're in the store and you're trying to decide, am I getting the Gen 2? Well, here's how you know. First and foremost, this one has a rafter hook on it. Thank you, I'm glad that's there. If nothing more, just to help store it somewhere. You hang it up and stuff. The main thing you'll notice is there's a dust port opening here, and then probably not in store, but the dust hose adapter you can attach right there where that slot is. The next thing you might notice is the difference in the way they bevel. The Gen 2 model has metal adjustments, a little metal flip knob that flips up. You can make your bevel adjustments and then flip down very easily. On the Gen 1, it's a plastic thumb screw that you unscrew, flip that down, and then tighten it back up. There is a little bit of a different handle design here, but you'll have to have them side by side probably to see the difference here. But the 3 main things you're looking for here, dust port, rafter hook, and the way that metal bevel adjustment works. That's how you'll know. There's also improvements under the hood. You're getting better performance out of the Gen 2, which you should expect, and we're gonna put them through the test to prove it. Let's go outside. So I've got both the Gen 1 and the Gen 2 saw. I'm actually gonna paint that like a blue color there on the eye, just in case you look at it from this angle, you'll be able to see that blue eye and know it's the Gen 1, if it even shows up on camera. But the main thing is you're looking for that dust port. That's how you'll know it's Gen 2. So I'm using 2 fully charged, brand new Edge batteries. This is the newest battery technology from RYOBI, and it makes a massive difference in your tools that you currently own. Even if it's previous generations, you're gonna get more power as well as better battery life out of these Edge batteries. I've been very, very impressed with these, and I've had the Edge battery in my shop for over a year now. These are 2 brand new ones, so we get accurate results here. They're excellent upgrades for the RYOBI platform. Let's go over the features of the Gen 1 and the Gen 2 to see what upgrades you're getting before we put them through the paces and see if you're getting better performance. Now both of these are the 1+ HP brushless motors, so you're still getting a top tier tool here from RYOBI, but there are some really good upgrades here on the Gen 2 that I think are worth noting. First and foremost, I love how the adjustments work now. We have this flip up, we can bevel. You even have detented stops at common angles, and it's very easy to lock it back in place. Nice wide metal base plate here, and we also have 0 and 45-degree indicators right there, as well as a nice gauge there for inches, so you can kind of keep an eye on how far away from your cut you are. The base plate here is very similar on the Gen 1. It is slightly different, but it's fairly similar. The difference here is this plastic adjustment knob, and there's no detents when you turn it. So I really like this upgrade where you're getting the better actual adjustments on here. As far as the depth adjustment goes, they're both very similar, very easy to do. Flip it up, adjust, flip down. The handle design is slightly different. It's a little higher over here, a little more forward and down, closer to the base plate on the Gen 2. We do have a rafter hook here on the Gen 2 that's not on the Gen 1. The dust extraction port is slightly different, as we stated before, and I think the Gen 2 spins up and stops faster. First thing I'm gonna do is rip this piece of 3/4 inch OSB so I can stack it. I wanna cut an 1.5 inch thick piece of this OSB, so stacking them together is how we're gonna get there. I'm gonna reuse the rigid for the initial cut because I don't wanna drain the batteries or dull the blades on these 2 new saws. We're gonna use the Gen 1 saw to make our first cut with the Edge battery. I could feel it bogging as I made this cut. I even stopped one time to look under and make sure I wasn't cutting my tabletop. And then I finished the cut. So we'll time this cut and show it on screen here to see how many seconds it took to make the full cut. Next up, we're going with the Gen 2 with the brand new fully charged battery, brand new blade, just like on the Gen 1. This one I did not notice the bogging that I did on the Gen 1. I also noticed that the speed of the motor was faster. You could just audibly hear that it was faster. I did make this cut almost all the way through. I bumped out on my clamp, so I had to stop. Next, I'm gonna use this regular 4 amp-hour battery. It's not the high performance, it's not the Edge, it's just the standard 4 amp-hour battery. And we're gonna put this in this Gen 2 saw and make the cut. Several times it stalls out as I'm trying to make the cut, but when I swap the Edge battery in, I don't have that problem. There's a big difference in the power delivery from these Edge batteries, and I've become a huge believer in them for a long time now. And I think you should check them out if you haven't yet. You'll see a big difference. Next thing I want to do is cut some 2x12s, or a 2x12. Using both of these, the edge battery in both Gen 1 and Gen 2. On the Gen 1, it does stall out a couple of times when trying to make a regular cross cut. And if you do put this standard battery in, it stalls out a bunch, even in the Gen 2. When you put the edge battery in the Gen 2, I was able to make cross cuts without any issues at all. No stalling or anything like that. Again, it's a really nice upgrade here. You're getting more power out of this new Gen 2, so I think we've got a good upgrade here, especially with the features on this new saw being what they are. And ergonomically, it's well balanced. This has got the 4 amp hour edge battery in it. It's not overly heavy, feels solid in the hand, good ergonomics as you've come to expect from RYOBI, or I have. They just make really solid stuff nowadays. Next up, we have 2 brand new nailers from RYOBI. Now, I've had this nailer for several years now. This is the RYOBI 18 gauge brad nailer. Now we have an 18 gauge crown stapler and a 16 gauge finish nailer. Check it out. As you can see, they're fairly similar shape because they're kind of doing all the same thing. They're just using different fasteners. The compressor is actually built in to this, so you don't actually need an air compressor or a hose to drag around, which is why I love this Airstrike 18 gauge brad nailer. It's so handy not to have to drag around that cord or that hose while you're trying to staple things up. I've used this overhead, used it flat. A lot of people use these to build planters and other small things like that. Just handy to have in the shop. If you need a crown stapler, now you have one you can choose from RYOBI. Crown stapler does 3/8 inch all the way up to 1.5 inches. You can also adjust the depth of your staples just by turning this little knob. Very, very similar, almost exactly the same as you do with the 18 gauge brad nailer. Now, if you're unfamiliar with the brad nailer, it will use 18 gauge brad nails from 5/8 all the way to 2.1/8 inch long, and it does a fantastic job. There's a really cool feature that's on these that I really, really love, and that is the auto fire. Basically, what you do is flip this switch over to you see the multiple nails on the little switch, and then when you pull the trigger, every time it hits or depresses the end switch there, it's going to fire a nail. So you don't have to keep pulling the trigger. This is really handy if you're building a lot of repetitive stuff. Maybe you're hanging fence, maybe you're building planters, maybe you're doing trim. This will just pop, 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 fire it as fast as you can push it down. Check it. "16 gauge finish nailer." Now the 18 gauge brad nailer does the same thing. As far as power on that 16 gauge nailer, you can see that it drove the nail from the top all the way through this 2x4 down into where I'd previously drilled holes. That wasn't on purpose, total accident, but you can see how deep they go. No problems here. I've never had any issues with my 18 gauge brad nailer as well. Just nice, solid options for nailers or stapler now, if you're in the market. The 16 gauge nailer also has that same depth control or the depth setting right there on the side. Now, both the crown stapler and the 18 gauge brad nailer have an extra control on the back, increase or decrease the pressure. Overall, I've been very impressed with this nailer. I think it's some of the best value nailers on the market, and now that you have 18 gauge, 16 gauge, and an 18 gauge stapler, it's hard to beat. Next, it's not just any ordinary box. It has a very unique feature I haven't seen anybody else do, and I'm glad they did it. If you don't know, I'm a huge fan of the RYOBI Link system. I have installed this in my shop on my own dime. It's fantastic for battery organization, for small parts organization. I even have a cabinet up there that's linked that you just hang on the wall. Like, they're just making cool stuff. This is a new small parts organizer that has drawers and a very, very cool feature that I haven't seen on a lot of other ones like this, but I could have missed it. You let me know. First, this has 3 drawers. One that is a deep drawer organizer, and then the other ones are the same size, kind of a more narrow drawer organizers. These are perfect for like screws and bits and things like that. So if you're always losing your driver bits, or you just need a way to keep different screws sorted, this might be the way to go. And it's perfectly organized inside this little drawer. Or brad nails, finish nails, things like that you need to keep organized, this is a good solution for that as well. Or anything, any other small parts that are laying loose in your shop that you're constantly trying to keep organized. The deep drawer, really good for bigger stuff, obviously. I throw some jig parts and pieces go in there. It even holds a tape measure very easily. You probably fit 2 or 3 tape measures in there, so you'd always at least know where one's at. Anything that's larger you could throw in here. And each of these drawers have removable dividers. You could take all the dividers out if you wanted to, but that way you can adjust to the size that you need. This also has a feature that I haven't seen on a lot of other stuff like this. It could be out there, I just haven't seen it. It locks. You can lock the drawers so that they don't accidentally come out, especially if you're transporting these. You don't want the drawers to slide out and get lost or damaged. That's going to prevent that. And then it easily unlocks with that little flip switch. This does have that RYOBI Link built into the top, the bottom, and the back. So you could actually hang this on the wall or connect it to any boxes you already have. Pretty cool. This new box snaps right in place. As you can see, then we have access to our stuff. It's up out of the way. That's why I like RYOBI Link. As you can see, I've invested into RYOBI Link myself with this battery holders, as well as this drill organizer and or charging station. Again, hanging on that RYOBI Link, I think it's just a fantastic way to organize your shop. And I'm super glad they added this. Now, this is the tool that was behind you that I told you couldn't see earlier. I've been very excited about this ever since they pre-announced this a couple of months ago, and that is their folding workbench. Now, if you're in a small space, maybe you're in a craft room, a garage or anything like that, and you just need a work surface that you can fold up and down and get it out of the way, this could be the answer, because soft close, which is absolutely amazing, pushes flat against the wall. It still leaves a shelf on top so that you can put your other things on there like pencils or saved glasses, whatever you need to keep there. Now, I have this mounted at standing desk height because when I'm working out, I actually have my workout plan right here. I like to keep it right here where I can check off whatever I'm doing. I like having this at a standing desk height, but you can mount it anywhere you want. Now, the great thing about this is it'll hold up to 300 pounds. It's very, very sturdy so long as you make sure you mount it correctly. And speaking of mounting it, it took me less than 10 minutes coming out of the box to assemble this and mount it to the wall. Probably about 5 or 6 minutes. A very fast setup. It does come with everything you need to mount it to the wall. I have this one mounted into studs. It's rock solid. And I love the fact that it's just a soft close. There is a safety pin that comes with this so that when it's in the fully extended part, you can pin that and it won't collapse on you without you taking that pin out, so you can't accidentally bump that. It's a really good safety feature. This is solid hardwood top. It's flat as flat gets, so if you need to assemble things or anything like that, this would be a good little assembly table for you. The main thing, the reason I wanted this as soon as I saw it was exactly for this space. I don't need a table up all the time. It would be in the way a little bit, but because I can collapse it down, it gets out of the way. I can still access anything I need to here. It pushes flat against the wall, virtually taking up about 5 or 6 inches max away from the wall. And then when I do need it, which is fairly regularly, fold it out. I've got a nice work surface or desk or whatever you need. This thing is fantastic. Link in the description. Really is cool. And yes, I did add more Link stuff recently. This is also brand new, and this is the part of the RYOBI Link too, is you can hook this into your wall plates. It gives you a hook on top and then the strap on bottom where you can organize cables, hoses, cords, anything like that. So you can literally hang extension cords from this, be able to get it on and off the wall, or if you have cables and other things, you'll be able to organize those quickly and easily as well. So nice addition. If you like this video, you'll love when I installed all of this RYOBI Link stuff. You gotta go check it out. Click in the box, get you the big old virtual fist bump.